What? You say you want a guided tour of the new cartoon book? There it is. Um, it's kind of unorthodox if you can see the shape of it, being that I did this in landscape format rather than paper. Most paperbacks are going to be in portrait or the vertical kind, and most of my other books were that way. But I decided I like the way this spreads out more horizontally because I feel like we read right to left. Excuse me, left to right, and so it makes your eye kind of move left to right. Well, that leaves out a lot of the distributors, including Amazon, say, well, we can't distribute this to extra places like libraries and some other places that normally would stock a book, but they won't do it in this format that it's done in landscape. But I decided to do it anyway. I really like this quote that starts it. Each cartoon needs the right amount of wrong. And it was said by Robert Mankoff. And I think it's kind of cool. Well, what I tried to do, too, is immediately get in some impact that, it's cartoons that maybe are a little bit unorthodox but are still kind of funny. This one, too, I just like the way it flows left to right, and there's just some action in that. Tried to get stuff that's a little bit, I guess, unorthodox, but it is kind of funny to me because I think of rats in the Skinner box as perhaps acting that way. That's what I would do if I was stuck in one. Let me go through some of my favorites. This one, which of course it's arcane and it's kind of obscure, but it's kind of funny too, because you can think about, well, what about the cow making a trip to the moon? That to me is funny. I don't know, maybe that's why cartoons don't sell very much. And again, Amazon saying, well, we can't distribute it except to specific outlets. Well, nobody's buying cartoons anyway because GIFs and memes have kind of spoiled that market. I like things that have like a more subtle reference. Like, I can imagine Dorothy today. It's like, yeah, well, we got to make sure you're not a robot, right? I mean, that's all part of the discrimination that the digital age has given us. And it's the digital age of GIFs and memes that's ruining cartoons for everyone because nobody cares anymore. And it's more soulless digital media. This is the way some cartoons happen. It just started drawing an aardvark, an anteater. And what would an anteater say in the bar? And that's kind of the way some cartoons start. And I think it's funny because I have a warped sense of humor. But here's another one. And this one just came about because I felt like drawing a spacescape. I didn't even have the dialogue for it, but I just wanted to do, like, what would an astronaut and an alien say to each other? Not necessarily the moon, but it could be. Or it could be Mars. So that came about, and then I just sort of let it gel, let it sit there for a while, like, well, what kind of thing would they say to each other? And that's where that caption came up. I also like doing a lot with animals because you can pretty much, I think it's funny what in the animal world, if you put some anthropomorphic or human thought into it, that to me is funny. Here's another one that started off, I just wanted to draw these two tigers and say, well, what would one tiger say to the other tiger? And then I just let it sit for a while. And then I thought, well, this is what they'd be talking about because at the zoo, they're looking at us just as we're looking at them. So here's the other one, Uber Eats. I think that's funny. I kind of like this, the play on death, which, Uber, it says you need to check if you're the Uber driver, who am I supposed to meet? You say, yeah, that's me. And some of these end up as birthday cards or originate as birthday cards because you can do your own birthday cards if you just draw this and send it to Walgreens or one of the other places, do photo finishing onto a card. So I don't have a lot of these originals, but I kind of like all of them. I throw them out because I end up with too many. But that's a peek inside the book. It's available on Amazon now, both in paperback and in hardcover. So get you one.